Alex, Mark, you play family members in American Rust. So I want to start by asking, what is your on-set family dynamic like?
I mean, I think it's pretty doggone good. I think Alex is a genuinely good guy, and we have a lot of things in common. We like the same sports. We're dog lovers. Except my dog is a little wiener dog, and his dog is a moose. I think it's a moose. Um, and yeah, we are interested in the same things, and we have a great time talking to each other.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Mark. He's always reading a new book and intellectually stimulating conversations about politics, about social dynamics and everything. And I feel like I learned a lot just hanging out with him, and not only just the things we agreed about, but the things we maybe disagreed about and could kind of learn from each other. So I really loved working with him. And I think it informed our performance as well and helped us get closer on screen.
That's like, it makes my heart sing. That's so lovely to hear because we see the Poe men really go through some tough stuff in season one. And for those who maybe haven't been as lucky as I to see the early screeners for season two, how are we going to see your on screen relationship evolve throughout the coming episodes?
I think you're going to see Virgil attempt to reconcile with his son. He's been an
Mhm.
absent father his whole life, and I think with his son in the grips of terrible PTSD, it's making him hallucinate. He's losing his way. He's on the verge of potentially committing suicide. This jars Virgil into action and to attempt to reconcile and help his son through this really, really rough spot in his life.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think for Billy, there's been a lot of turmoil and tumultuousness through that relationship. But I think in this season, Virgil might be one of the more consistent people in Billy's life that is continuously trying to lend a hand and help. And I think that consistency throughout the show shows to Billy that he really does care and he's going to be there for him. And they do have kind of some coming out moments where they talk to each other kind of unfiltered and really let out what's been bothering them in the past about each other.
And we see Billy making a pretty monumental decision that affects not only his life, but his whole family's life in the first episode of season two. So, how will we kind of see him come into his own a little bit?
Yeah, I think he really is trying to move forward from his past and take the right initiatives. He's deep down has very good intentions and wants to be a stand-up guy, and he wants to take care of his family and help his mother out for supporting him for so much, and that really sets her off on a trajectory for a lot of the season as well. And
Mhm.
it kind of lightens the burden off of him, and he feels kind of weightlessness, honestly, for the first time, and kind of free. And then it's not until a little bit later that the PTSD and the trauma really starts to boil over, and it kind of he found a purpose earlier in the season, and then that purpose kind of dwindles away again until Virgil kind of helps him out.
So, for my final question, I'm probably going to reveal a lot about myself and how I relate to men, but I really see Virgil and Billy as the beating hearts of this show. I see them as like very raw and emotionally driven characters. And I want to ask you both, as actors, when you signed on to a crime drama, did you realize that you would be playing to such emotional, raw men?
I mean, the book itself, which was the source material for season one, was very emotional and very raw. Virgil is really an absentee father in that book, so you don't really
Yeah.
see a lot in there. But I'm glad that they wrote it that way because it elevates it above just the crime drama into a family drama, an interpersonal engagement that I think makes the fans much more engaged in the problems that we're going through, and they want to root for us because we
Mhm.
are passionate and we do love each other. We're flawed, but we love each other.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I think it was something that I was prepared for, but I didn't know quite the lengths of which it was going to go. But I ultimately think the strongest men are the ones that can be vulnerable and can um, be empathetic and sacrifice. And I think that's just a good message in general. that you know, as flawed as we are, you know, we're gonna wear our heart on our sleeves.
Okay, so I want to start by asking, because Lee asks a lot of the tough questions that we all have about the events and the characters of American Rust. So,
Mhm.
is it tough for you to be the voice of reason all the time?
Yes and no. Initially, yes. I think she Lee quickly realizes that that's the role she needs to step into.
Mhm.
Nobody else is doing it, and I don't think it's like a contemplative, like, should I not? I think she just does it naturally. She's
Mhm.
naturally independent, naturally a leader, but now that her parents are gone, now that her and Isaac and Billy are living in the same household, I think she needs to be that driving force. She's the more stable and more equipped to handle that role. I don't think it's necessarily easy all the time.
Mhm.
I think it's tough, and I think it's even at work. I don't. It's not easy, but I think it's rewarding for her. I think it gives her somewhere to go. It gives her a push and motivation.
So, for you, the actor playing this tough role, who's kind of the mom, kind of the best friend, has to ground everybody in this way, which of your castmates is the most fun to argue with?
Which is the most fun to argue? I don't know if it's, I mean, as the character, as me,
As you.
I love the drama. I love the drama. I live for the arguing. I live for that's all me all day. So anyone who I need to tussle with,
Uh-huh.
it's fun. It's entertaining. It's nice to have that coming out of me and expressing, especially if it's coming out of truth when you're frustrated. Or there's scenes where I'm speaking to Isaac
Mhm.
about I'm trying to connect with my work stuff, and I want somebody on my side, but he's not meeting me there, and that's frustrating. And I'm like, don't you get it? Where's humanity? Where's, like, it's my responsibility. Okay, sure, maybe it's not only me, but
Yeah.
it's frustrating when you're not understood. And with Billy, I think sometimes it's a little less because he's so removed from me sometimes. Um, and that's hurtful, and it's hard. And I also feel guilt around it. So there's different dynamics on how I'm communicating with people, and that's nice to play.
We also see you give a really nice gift to Billy in the first episode. I'll leave it at that. We won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't been lucky enough to see it yet. But bringing some of her sweeter side out, is that us seeing maybe a little more of you channeled through Lee this season?
I don't want to give all the credit to myself. Yeah, it's on me.
I do.
I would maybe crediting I didn't write it. But I think it's natural. I think it's needed. I think she feels compelled. I think it's coming from the heart and from a place of wanting to connect so desperately, especially with him. They've been through so much together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Lee is a giver. She is a lover. She's tough, but she still very much craves that connection and wants to give love and show appreciation.
And then lastly, I want to ask again, skirting spoilers as much as possible, but if you can hint at maybe how Lee's fight for justice evolves through the season without any spoilers. Is there maybe an episode, a moment we want people to pay extra attention to?
Yeah, without any spoilers, it's a ride. It's a ride, but from the moment of discovery, from the moment of when you're investigating, when you have a hunch, when it's exhilarating. I think she takes you on that with her, tries to understand it, tries to weigh the good and the bad, and what tries to follow her heart and the truth. That whole journey, that whole part of it is so, it keeps her alive during this hard time, because I don't think home life is being dealt with.
Luna, I want to start by admitting that I love watching the way that you play interrogation scenes. You get a lot of them throughout the seasons, because I've seen all of season 2 now. How do you keep playing this scene format every time you get to do it? Because I feel like you bring something new and different and exciting each time you're putting the fist to someone.
Oh, thank you for that. I just think about them differently and what the objective is, and trying different things that could be. It's strategic, and it's an interesting thing to try to be strategic in this sort of tough, way of being that she always has. Pretty much, she thinks. But eventually, everybody breaks. Whether it's there's always a tell. There's always some. There are different ways to go about it. But I think she just knows that this is just the way human beings operate. Eventually, there's going to be something that lets me know that you're lying. And I think pretty much she thinks if you're here, you are hiding something or lying if you're in this room. And it's just a matter of time.
Give me chills. Rob, I feel like Steve often gets the short end of the stick, but he's chief now and things are changing in season 2. So can you tell us a little bit about how this new status has maybe changed the way you're approaching the character?
Well, the sign on his door says chief, but like nobody's treating him like a chief. So I think it's stepping into some really big shoes and doing the best he can. So it put a little frown on my face too. All the disrespect from like my fellow colleagues. It's like having a party and nobody comes.
He deserves so much. But even when in episode 1, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but he has an interaction with Grace, I think that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the season in a lot of ways.
I find it so funny. Just no respect. No respect.
You know what that means, though? By the end of the season, he will be the one running the show. And because we've already alluded to a party, we get a very nice party that you are the star of, Luna, very early on in season 2. How much fun was that scene to play? Because American Russ kind of lives in this very, very serious tone most of the time.
I don't think it's a spoiler. I mean, it's a birthday party, but when they bring out a birthday cake and bagpipes, I mean, it's just bananas. It tells you where it's the most delicious, divine thing that Jim McKay could have ever done. And I just think it was wonderful. It was just such a great light moment. And we don't get a lot of that kind of, those kind of moments. But of course, shortly afterwards, it takes a different tone, as things do. So
yeah,
I think that was just a nice bit of unexpected lightness.
And for my final question, I want to ask, because both of your characters are driven by super, super strong moral compasses, but they don't always ally. So I would like to know, at this point, do you consider yourselves to be on the same side of the fence or on opposite sides of the fence?
Ooh.
Interesting question. I feel they think I feel that Angela thinks she's on the same side as Chief Mark does.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's like being asked questions and like writing out your answer. And feel like, hey, what'd you put down for number 2? We on the same page here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.